I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Coffee and Chip and Ghosty.
I'm checking out chords and notes. That's Kellendrass's thingy, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure chords and notes is Kellendrass. So anyway, check out Kellendrass's channel. It's called Chords and Notes. Hopefully we can remember to put the link to his channel in our description of this song. But anyway, check him out. We always at the village. One of our principles is supporting fellow villagers. So he's a fellow villager.
Well,
so
what does he do? Oh, he does a reaction channel as well.
Yeah.
With those little characters in the background.
He's I love the name of his channel, Chords and Notes. That's a very, very good one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they'll be held to pay if it's not really Kellendrass.
Yep. Or if he didn't want his actual name out there or something. Some people do that.
Yeah, we'll see. This is a guy, for timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up in Middle America with Vin and Sori.
Mm-hmm.
And
My Sori Life stuff has been moved to, all of you patrons. It's up there for you guys. So don't forget to go on Patreon and you can check out the different posts.
Yep. This is Buckethead. The name of this song is Soothsayer.
Have we heard any Buckethead before?
Never.
Okay.
Buckethead is like a guitarist and he's mysterious. Nobody knows who he really is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he basically plays with a bucket on his head. I think it's like a mystery of who the guy actually is.
That's hilarious.
But he's a badass guitarist.
He really has a bucket on his head?
Well, I don't know if it's like an actual bucket, but...
Oh my gosh.
What?
That's just funny. My father would get a kick out of that. Yes, there's a bucket on his head. It says KFC.
Yeah. So maybe you could go with that one, for sure. This song is called Soothsayer, and I guess it's for his Aunt Susie. So, let's do it.
Okay.
The name of the album is Crime Skunk Scene.
Go. was good. I think he really loves his aunt.
Yeah, I think she died in 2007. I'm looking here. Sail on, Soothsayer, in memory of Aunt Susie, 1932-2007.
She was still alive when he released this then. Because it got released in 2006.
Yes. Right? Yeah. So she got to hear it. I guess she was the one that got him his first guitar.
Oh, that's cute. I wonder
yeah.
if she was sick or something at this point.
I mean, she only had a year left, so probably, 1932 to 2006? How old is that? Like 60?
You could
70?
feel
Let me
like
see.
he loved her
Right.
in the song. Like, I mean,
74.
I wanted to reach out and hug Aunt Susie myself.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
really cute.
Yeah, it's really, you never really know when you're doing something that significant.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm just gonna get him a guitar.
Yeah.
It's probably some dinky guitar or whatever.
And you could get it for them, and they just never had interest in it.
You have no idea, like, how significant it is that you're doing. But it just amazes me how some people are so mega talented, but everybody needs somebody to believe in them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yep.
You know, you gotta have somebody believe in you. You know, I heard this sermon one time, and I don't think I completely agreed with it. But, you know, when Mary was telling Jesus to turn the water into wine, you know, his first public miracle, and Jesus is like, what does this have to do with us?
Yeah.
Like, but then he goes and does it anyway. Mm-hmm. And the guy, it was a Mother's Day sermon. The guy made the point that maybe Jesus was afraid or you know, to exercise his power, and that he needed his mom to kind of cheer him on to get the ball rolling.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, and he made the argument. I'm not sure, you know, but he made the argument like, look, Jesus was God, but he was also human.
Yeah, it's not sinful for him to.
Right.
Be like a little tentative.
Right. So like, you know, everybody. It doesn't matter how great you are at something. You need people who believe in you. Mm-hmm. You know, that's...
Oh, for sure.
My mom was that for me. My mom would tell me all the time, you know, because of the dramatic, you know, my birth and all the stuff that happened when I was a baby. So there was just like, you are important to the world, and you're going to change the world. And like, I never had a conscious moment where that wasn't the narrative in my life. You know, my mom was... And anything I did is Taekwondo, you're the best! You know, baseball, you're the best. Football, you're the best. You know,
like that with the kids
racked
too.
up all these trophies and stuff, and she had full. My mom and I had our wars, but she had full and firm belief that you know, and I never lost that, and it annoys people.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does.
You know, having that type of self-assurance or whatever, you know, annoys people, because most people didn't have a person in their life to cheer them on like that. But if you do have somebody like that in your life, then, you know, my mom didn't BS me. She never said I was going to be the greatest student of all time, because she knew school wasn't my thing. Like, so she never BS me. Like, she was never G'ing me, you know, gassing me up and saying, oh, you're, you know.
You could
like,
be an amazing singer.
Yeah, she never did that. But she was just like, you're gonna, you know. So, those are important, man.
I mean, I never met your mom. I wish I was able to, but whenever you talk about her, it always sounds like, oh, it's probably like how you are when you like cheer the kids on. It's like most parents would be like, yeah, you know, good job, and you're like, you're the best. You're like, what? It's like your reactions to stuff is like on 10, and the rest of the world is like on 7.
Yeah.
So it like makes the person like really, like, I bet your mom was like that too. Like when she told you like you did a good job, like you felt like that's right.
Yeah. She'd go to my baseball games and you know, we had this rival team that we always had a problem with, and we were down 2-1 or something like that, and it was my turn. You know, my teammate before it just struck out, you know, and it was like this big, and my mom was going at it with this other mom, but the other mom was like, you could tell she was intimidated, you know, because my mom was just, you know. So I went up there, and the mom, her son was the pitcher, and my mom, I was up to bat, I sent that shit over the wall. True story.
Really?
Yeah. Oh man, my mom lost it. She lost it. Go on, tell him, go on. I ran across the bases.
How old were you?
I ran a little slow.
You did?
11. It was me, Tristan, and Floyd. Like she completely stacked that team. But at the same time, we're all in the neighborhood.
Well, yeah.
We literally we had played baseball with each other that entire summer.
Yeah.
It wasn't a fair team. We had a super team, but it was. Tristan was to this day, the best baseball player I've ever met in my life. Personally. I mean, he's with Ain Soph now. Both of them are actually. But I was third, and then Floyd was batting cleanup. And then so it was Tristan, this kid named Jason, me, and then Floyd was cleanup. And we hit back-to-back home runs.
Oh my word.
Floyd was a lefty, so.
What was the mom and the pitcher saying?
Oh, they didn't have nothing to say. They didn't have anything to say. I mean, what can you say? You know what I mean? But I was used to my mom doing that. So I was, it encouraged me and all the rest of it, but I think for the other kid, it made him nervous.
Yep.
Because now there's a lot of pressure, and now I'm up to bat, and his mom and my mom are going at it, and da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, yeah.
And so, he was fragile. He sent that thing about, 40 miles right down the middle.
Jeez.
And have you ever played baseball before?
Well, we did it in the neighborhood.
When you have a home run, you know it immediately when you hit contact.
Yeah.
Immediately. It's just a certain type of feeling, and it's and he knew it. He didn't even look back.
I never hit a home run.
He just put his head down, and I was just circling. Oh man,
my cousins would say, "Sori, just stand there. You'll be able to walk it. That's cool though if you walk it." They were older than me. I'm like, that's
ridiculous.
But I would still try to swing.
You're probably more athletic than all of them right now. But
then I would swing, and when I would swing one, they'd be like, "No, we told you not to do that," because you have to try before you can.
Yeah, you would have killed it. But so it's just really, and I don't think people really realize how important that type of belief is to a kid.
Oh, I know.
It's super, super important. And I remember looking back, being in certain overcoming things that were extremely difficult to overcome and going through selection and being like that, but feeling like I can and just being convinced, irrationally convinced, I know that 99% of people want, but I'm not going to because I'm me.
Yeah.
My mom said so.
Oh.
Literally, that's what was going on. So I remember being a kid and losing at something and being extremely confused. I'd be like, well, how did this happen?
I feel like that's what happens when Dorian loses Madden.
Huh?
I feel like that's what happens when Dorian loses Madden when he plays with you. Because he's always convinced when he starts playing he's going to beat you. And then he looks confused when he doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a funny kid. He's a funny kid. But Dorian, he kind of has that attitude too.
I bet it wasn't as extreme as yours though.
No, he doesn't.
I feel like you would be over the top with it.
Well, Dorian's a firstborn. I was a middle child, so I never had anything handed to me. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't the baby, so it was just different. Mm-hmm. It was just different. But Johan kind of is in the position that I was in the family dynamics, but Johan is too nice of a person to be like I was. I was a terrible kid. Terrible kid. Terrible little brother, terrible big brother. I was just horrible. Competitive as hell. Everything it had to be a competition. Everything. Ugh. So
it's been so frustrating.
Yeah, and I was on 10 all the time, and I was obsessed with beating my brother. And my older brother was not he's not a, I mean, he's a one percenter in his own right. Mm-hmm. I mean, but he's just, he fits perfectly with the profile of the organization that he's working for.
Yeah.
Just perfect.
Right.
And I fit perfectly for, the stuff that I had to do. So, it's just different, it's just a different situation. But yeah, we were raised we were raised, my mom, like, we didn't walk around ever feeling like we were inferior to anybody, you know. And now, of course, I look back and I realize why, you know, she did that. It's because, you know, you're black kids, and most of the time we're in majority white areas.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we never walked around feeling inferior to anybody.
Yeah. Well, I asked you, like, at the show the other night, because, like, when we walked in, and I was like, oh my gosh, like...
There's like 2 black jelly beans.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, actually, the reason...
There's a funny story about that. We got to do the show review. Did I take a picture with that guy?
No.
We should have.
You should have.
Go ahead, keep going.
I actually didn't, like... normally don't realize when you're, like, the only, like, black person around. But, like, there was, like... a few different, like, white guys that were looking at you weird. Like, I don't know, they kind of had a racist look on their face, and that's the first time I've kind of seen that at a show. Like, most of the other shows were not like that, but this is the first one where I kind of, like, I was like, well, that's weird.
Well,
it was, like,
I think me by myself, they would have been fine. I saw a couple of it. One guy was like, what's up, man? But a lot of it had to do with me being with you. Oh,
maybe, because, I mean, I was always pregnant the last time, so...
Right.
Yeah.
But you looked very nice.
Oh, thank you.
That day. Your pants were very nice.
Thank you.
So yeah, like, you know, that you get that energy. That happens all the time. I'm always like, what's up, bruh?
You're funny. So
it's one of those people that say some reckless shit in the comment section.
Yeah.
So that's why there was one dude, and I was just like, you know, I was just, what's up? You need something? And he didn't want no smoke with Vincent.
Yeah, but, so I, like, saw that, like, a couple times, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, because, like I said, that hasn't happened at the other shows, or I didn't notice it at the other shows, but this one was definitely different. And then I looked at you, and I was like, do you feel, like, weird that you're, like, basically the only black person in here? And you were like, no. And you were, like, completely good with the whole thing. And I was like, but that just reminded me, because you said, like, we just had our head up, like, nothing, you know?
Yeah.
Then I was thinking, like, I'm not sure I would be comfortable if it was, like, a whole crowd of black people, and there was, like, me and, like, one other white face walking around in the crowd.
With a bunch of black girls ice grilling you?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'd be like, what? Yep, he's mine.
Yeah. But this was a really, really fitting tribute to his aunt, and really anybody who had a family member that believed in them and invested in them.
Yeah, and it was an aunt too. That's cool, you know. Like, usually aunts are kind of busy with their own, you know. Like, I don't feel like I'm a super awesome aunt to my nephews because I've got 5 kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like hard to find, you know, the time to be a great aunt.
Yeah, but Shannon Sharp, he's a Hall of Fame tight end. It's his grandma. He talks about his grandmother all the time.
Yeah.
There's not a week goes by he doesn't mention his grandma. But, you know, there's always that one person in your life who their belief in you just changes the trajectory of what you could do in life. And I think that's really important. And obviously now having kids, like, to have a realistic, you know, as I tell Dorian, like, Dorian, you don't have the athleticism of a wide receiver. Forget it. Like, you're not a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. But anytime you go on a field, you are the smartest person on the field by a mile. Mm-hmm. So study that playbook and be a quarterback. You can make that happen. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's the realism, but at the same time, like, recognizing, like, I think every kid's got something special about them that if you're crazy enough to...
Yeah, it's cultivated.
Cultivate it, yeah. And if they're silly enough to believe it, they can do great things. Like, you know, Tom Brady, he talked about it. He's like, he said, my parents never said, oh, that's not realistic or whatever. He saw Joe Montana, he's like, I want to be like Joe Montana. And they said, okay. And they saw that he was serious about it. It's like, you know, so you gotta have the kind of, like, obsessive, I'm sure this dude slept with his guitar. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that, you know, it's just like Wayne Gretzky. Like, he'd be out at 3 a.m. practicing, you know, in his backyard, the hockey stuff. And then he'd, you know, after school, everybody's out playing, Gretzky's in the back working on, you know. So, like, you gotta have that type of attitude as
that kind of
the kid, but as the adult, like, you gotta have one. You need at least one adult in your corner that says you can do it. And obviously, this woman was that for him. And I think it's beautiful that he was able to send that off to her a year before she died. You know what I mean? Like, that's.
You said how old was she?
That was 74.
Okay.
Well, when this was written, it was she was 74. So
Yep.
she died the next year. So she's 75, which is another. That's pretty much the average. So she lived a full life.
Yeah.
She did what she needed to do, and
cute.
and we're still talking about her to this day. You know, was it 2007, 6 this song came out?
2006, yep.
And so, you know, you gotta love it, man. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
I really liked the emotion. I liked the way that he did it. Like, you could tell, like, I don't know, like, I really felt like she was a loved woman.
Yeah. Yeah, he really loved her. Yeah. There's some things that the guitar can communicate that no other instrument, including vocalization, can communicate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, he definitely captured that. Sometimes, like, when you hear, you know, solos like this, like there's this guy, Yngwie Malmsteen, and we'll probably eventually get to reviewing some of his stuff. But sometimes it's just a bunch of scale work and notes, and, you know, it's great. But the emotive side of it, it's hard to capture, and I think he did a really good job here. What do you give the song?
We haven't really done many instrumentals like this, so.
The last instrumental we did was Orion from Metallica.
Well, there was some parts of it that I felt like it was like, okay, we keep repeating the same thing over and over. But then that kind of went to the background, and then they layered stuff on top of it. I'm not sure. You go.
It's 9 for me.
Why?
Well, I love the sound. It was a really good send off for his aunt. So, you know, everything that I've just been saying for the last.
Yeah, I think okay. I'll go with the 9 as well.
Okay, there you are. Shout out to Buckethead, Vin out.
And shout out to the aunt.
Okay, Vin out.
Sorry, Al.
Gone.